Hey, so today we're going to talk about the conclusions we made or we came to between all the movies Charlie and I watched about the South. So first of all, there are some themes that appear throughout all these movies and there's lots of ways in which they're connected. The first of which is racism, and you can see throughout all these movies that racism is kind of on the decline in the South. You can see in The Birth of a Nation there's heavy racism, there's like racial warfare essentially. And like the movie is about the founding of the KKK, and it glorifies the founding of the KKK, and that's obviously heavily racist. And then you can move on to movies such as To Kill a Mockingbird, and you can see racism's presence within the South fading. Racism is still definitely there in To Kill a Mockingbird. There are clearly heavily racist scenes, such as when Tom Robinson feels sorry for Mayla Ewell, and the opposing lawyer paints that as a horrible thing. But it's definitely on the decline. It's more institutionalized racism versus race warfare. Then moving on to Driving Miss Daisy, onto middle Southern culture era. Racism is still definitely present, but it's much more subtle than before, such as Hoke being pulled over by the cops just for driving a car and being black. And that's obviously, there's still a racist presence, but it's not as institutionalized anymore, and it's more like individuals having a racist attitude rather than the society having a racist attitude. And then finally, moving on to Forrest Gump, the last video, you can see there's still some presence of racism, such as they have a scene depicting the integration of school in Alabama. It's definitely not as prominent though, and it's definitely, it shows the decline of racism over time in the South. All these movies do, that spectrum is apparent. Additionally, there's the family and community aspect of this, and how in The Birth of a Nation, family and community are used to justify racism. Ben Cameron uses his duty to his family as a means to justify founding the KKK, to protect them. And you see that evaporate over time with all these movies. And it's still featured a little bit in To Kill a Mockingbird, with Mr. Ewell trying to protect his daughter from society, or trying to protect his daughter's status within society, using that family justification for racism. But essentially by Driving Miss Daisy, this is pretty much evaporated.
Alright, so next we're going to talk about some other themes and how they appear. Family, as Ethan was talking about, has been interconnected with racism multiple times throughout these movies, and it's also heavily intertwined with duty. And these three themes, racism, family, and duty, are definitely the foundations of the earlier movies, but racism phases out as we go through time, the time periods that are portrayed in the movies. For example, The Birth of a Nation is essentially based on this trifecta of themes, but by the time we get to Forrest Gump, family is definitely the most important theme, followed by the duty toward one's family and toward one's friends. Other themes that we've seen pop up over and over include simplicity and resourcefulness, and we found that these two kind of go hand in hand. We've concluded that this comes because the simple life itself calls for resourcefulness, such as living off the land. You have to know how to hunt like Atticus does, or you have to know how to work hard labor like Tom Robinson in To Kill a Mockingbird does. He's always able to help Mrs. Ewell with her household chores and everything. And the simplicity also ties into the theme of Christianity, which is encountered multiple times throughout the movies. And this is kind of because the reasoning for things can often be simple in terms of what is morally right and what is morally wrong. And this helps to make certain people make the right decisions, such as Forrest Gump, who really bases his life off of simplicity, and because of this, he has no ulterior motives or complex ideas about what's right and what's wrong. He simply does what is right. So that's about all we have to say about that.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Charlie.
Thank you for watching.